Hello, so you're welcome to the webinar presentation by me, Mr. Maple, on the GOI-IES Scholarship by the Government of Ireland. GOI-IES stands for Government of Ireland International Education Strategy. That S there is strategy, not scholarship. So when I get to talk about the scholarship itself, you would understand better. This scholarship is international students seeking to study for masters, a master's degree, or a PhD. And I just want to create a bit of sensitization through this webinar. So let's get started. On this webinar, I'm going to be covering the following areas. First, I'll share a bit of my GOI-IES story, and then I'll tell you about the GOI-IES scholarship proper, and then how to get started. Number four, I'm going to talk to you about how you can use what you learn from this webinar and what you are going to gain from this whole experience, how you can use it to prepare for other opportunities. And then I'll tell you about a group coaching session, by the way, which is going to be private, which I will be organizing, and how you can be a part of it if you're willing. And then lastly, any questions that you may have to ask me. So let's jump right into it. First, my GOI-IES story. Of course, that's my scholarship award letter there on the screen. Might be too tiny for you to see, but yes, the original scholarship application letter by the Higher Education Authority, HEA Ireland, as you can see. So first thing I want to tell you is how I got to know about the scholarship and what you can learn from it. I got to know about this scholarship from a former colleague of mine who had moved to Ireland for her master's degree. Of course, she's not a an awardee of the scholarship, but she heard about it and she shared with me because I had mentioned to her that I was looking to go forward my further my education. What is the lesson here for you? You would have to mention. Some of us plan in secret to the point that even those who have information for us don't know what we are planning. So we lose out on that information. So you want to maybe perhaps carefully pick a few persons here and there, but you definitely would have to mention what you're seeking to people because it's by so doing you get information that will help you. So because I mentioned to this former colleague of mine, I got to know about this scholarship. Now, I started the process of applying for the scholarship. I started by first reading about the entire thing before I'll take definite actions. In the course of reading about it and preparing myself to apply for the scholarship, I discovered something very heartbreaking. And that was the fact that the scholarship ultimately, even if I get it and get a visa, the visa was not going to support dependents. In other words, I won't be able to travel with my family. So because of that, I aborted the process and then I looked in the direction of a different country where I got admission and I was actively pursuing it. But while I was still on it, the government of that country made a new law that international students are no longer allowed to come with their families. So I thought long and hard about it. If I was going to come to Ireland, I had the chance of applying for a scholarship, and if I get that scholarship, it's going to be fully funded and it will drastically reduce the cost on me. If I was going to this other country, I'll definitely have to fund myself. Both cases, I'm not going with family. So it made sense for me to choose Ireland. So I had to fall back to Ireland after 1 year and began the process of applying for the scholarship. Beginning from seeking admission first, you learn about why this is the case. And so from getting an admission, I proceeded to applying for the scholarship. It took me weeks to prepare and to apply for it as well too. And then it took months to wait for the final outcome. And I got it after the long wait. So I applied for the scholarship in January 2024. And then the first screening happened sometime around April 2024. I was shortlisted, the first time after the first screening. And then the second and final screening happened in May. and I made it. I was one of the finalists. Again, I'll tell you more about this. But all of these did not come without doubt. Believe me, I had doubt. Oh, I had doubt. I didn't believe that I was going to get this scholarship. I didn't believe it. I felt age was no longer on my side. I felt I had been out of school for way too long. And then what I studied in school is different from what I want to, what my first degree rather was in engineering. And yeah, I might want to do a master's degree in business. Of course, my work experience is also business. So I leaned on that. Regardless of my doubts and my fears, some of which I can't even begin to recall now, I just decided to give it a shot. But I told myself I was not going to give it just any shot. I was going to give it my best shot. So every question I was asked, every document I was asked to provide, I made sure that I did it the best possible way. So that's my story summary. Bottom line is I'm a scholar of the GOI-IES scholarship, fully funded. And as a matter of fact, I'm presently in Dublin, Ireland. I came in just before the new year 2025, and I'm currently doing this recording. This recording is actually for those who missed the original webinar. Right, so this is a recorded version. Yes, and so yes, I'm doing this webinar from right from the city of Dublin, and by in a few days' time, I'm actually going to commence school activities once the school resumes formally for the year 2025. So I hope this encourages you to also prepare to take a shot this year because the scholarship is currently open and there are so many other scholarships open as well too. So next about the scholarship itself, right? So this scholarship is a government agenda. In other words, it's something the government of Ireland is doing intentionally. The government is actually looking for high caliber students to come over to Ireland to study and be fully funded. And that's why I mentioned that the program is named International Education Strategy because the government of Ireland, through the Higher Education Authority, is trying to promote the quality of education Ireland has to offer to the rest of the world. And one of the ways to do that is to create a scholarship scheme where various nationalities across the world can come, be sponsored, and have a feel of what the scholarship is about, what the education quality is like, and then those of us who are scholars can go back to our various countries, communities, and inform them of the quality of education that we receive, which is part of why I'm also hosting this webinar. So it's a government agenda. The government is actually looking for qualified persons to take up available slots yet again for this year. I'll talk about the slots shortly. Now, the way the scholarship works is this. You get school fees waiver from a participating school. Not all schools are part of this program, but when you get to identify a school that is a part of this program and you apply to the school, you get admission with the school, then you now apply for the scholarship, and the scholarship management body, which is the HEA, Higher Education Authority, notifies the school of your application. The school looks at your application, and if they are cool with you, they accept you. What that means is that the school will give you a full school fees waiver. You won't pay a dime for school fees. And that is the contribution of the school to the scholarship scheme. While on the other hand, the Higher Education Authority on behalf of the government of Ireland is going to provide you with stipend of about 10,000 euros to help defray your living expenses. The next thing you need to know about the scholarship is that it has limited slots. The scholarship is for just 60 persons per year. So obviously, you can tell that it's going to be highly competitive. For my own set, there were I don't know how many applications there were, but I guess there were thousands of them. But after the first shortlisting, a total of about 300 persons were shortlisted, and that 300 had to be further reduced to 60, of which I made that final list of 60. So it is highly competitive and also challenging. but doable because I am a testimony for you. But one thing I learned through the process is the fact that yes, it may be very competitive, but even if you don't get it, it prepares you for other opportunities. At least the experience awakens you to what is possible. And then if you're serious enough, you begin to look out for other opportunities. During the group coaching session, I'll also provide guidance on how to look out for other opportunities and even bring people that I know have benefited from other opportunities to come share their own experiences with you. Getting started. So you need to start by preparing your necessary documents because you are first going to have to seek admission. And for you to seek admission, you need to prepare your what is commonly referred to as your credentials. Your statement of result, your first degree certificate, your secondary school certificate, and other documents. You need to keep them handy. If you do not have an international passport, you definitely need to start the process of having one right now because throughout the entire process, your passport is one document that you would have need for, all the way down to even your visa. And depending on, if you're Nigerian or you're from any other African country or wherever, depending on how long it takes for passport to be processed, it's in your best interest to start now. Especially if you need to start gathering money for it, you have to start now. Because remember, like I said, the application process for this scholarship is already on. It's open. It started in December. So the clock is ticking. But one thing I can assure you is this: the scholarship doesn't work based on who first submitted application. It's open, no screening, no shortlisting is done until when all applications have been received. The application is going to close in the month of March. So you have all the way to the month of March. So you don't need to be in a hurry to submit your application. Who submits first has no advantage whatsoever, right? So move to get your passport, other documents that you will need. Then next is that you need to now research the participating schools, which means that you need to go to the GOI-IES website. Just go to Google and search GOI-IES 2025. Study the website. You'll find lots of documents, supporting documents that would prepare you better, and you would also find the list of schools that are participating. Research those participating schools, and we research them in terms of you want to see if it's a school you'd like, if it's a school that you connect with, but most importantly, if it's a school that offers the course that you want to study, because that's very important. But I'll tell you something that I learned in the course of my own application. Don't just choose your course randomly. Choose a course that aligns with your first degree or with your work experience. The reason is because this is going to be a major consideration when you apply for visa. You're not going to get a visa if you want to go study a course that is disconnected from your first degree, that is disconnected from your work experience, and you cannot make a strong enough case why you are going for this course. A lot of people made the mistake of just choosing random courses. Everybody wants to go into IT and choose to want to go study something IT. And at the end of the day, they don't get the visa. This is because of there is no connection, with what you want to go study to your career history or to your academic history. So you want to ensure that everything aligns while you are researching the school and also trying to settle for a course, right? So that's the next point, deciding your course. And then, of course, you are going to write a statement of purpose, which is going to make a strong case on why you want to study that course, why you've chosen Ireland, and all of that. Templates are available. And of course, through the group coaching session, I'm also going to share other templates and guidance as well too. Once you're done with all of this, you've decided your school and you've prepared these documents, then you will need to now submit your admission application because you must gain admission first before you can apply for the scholarship. And the earlier you are apply for the admission, the better because the admission process takes different time for different schools. It's not going to be handled in a haste simply because you want the admission to apply for the scholarship. So the earlier you apply for admission, the better. As a matter of fact, this is the best time to apply for admission, right? January, this very month. So that whatever that happens by February, you should have gotten feedback on your admission and you proceed. I would advise that you apply for admission to about 2 to 3 schools. So just in case one doesn't work out, other to work out. But the 2 to 3 schools must all be schools that are participating in the scholarship scheme. Please never forget this. All schools you're applying to must be participating in the scholarship scheme. And then lastly, depending on the school you settle for, most schools have licensed agents that would work with you to facilitate even the admission process. In some cases, agents are available to also provide guidance for your visa application. You won't really get any support from any agent for the scholarship application itself. And the reason is because agents make their revenue, make their money from school fees. So if you are going to get scholarship, right, agents will not be available to help you because that means you are not going to be paying school fees. So you're on your own when it comes to the scholarship application itself. However, that's why you have me, right, to provide guidance. That's why I'm doing even this webinar to help you. So we move to the next. Now that I've shared briefly what you need to know and how to get started, I have way more to share, but that would happen with the group coaching session where we're going to take a deep dive and look into it. But you see, first you need to sort out your admission because the coaching session is going to be specifically or mainly for those who have gotten admission. You really don't need a private coaching session for the admission bit of things, right? But this coaching session is not going to wait until you gain admission. So you have to indicate your interest soon enough. Now, beyond the GOI-IES scholarship, like I mentioned earlier, what I realized was that it prepares you for other applications. It fires you up. It opens, in fact, from the things you write even about yourself, because you have to write a whole lot about yourself in the course of the application. By the time you read all that you had to write about yourself, again, if you give your best shot to it, which is why I'm here to guide you, it suddenly opens your eyes up to how much value you carry, how much you have to offer to society out there, and what's really possible. And so you can now begin to actively look for other opportunities. Don't just wait on the GOI-IES scholarship outcome. You can begin to apply for other opportunities because this application process has prepared you, it has equipped you. And in most cases, it is still the same answers you provided for this scholarship application that you will provide for other applications, just that you need to do necessary tweaks here and there. So there are lots of other opportunities out there, from fully funded scholarships to partially funded scholarships to combo scholarships. What are combo scholarships? Combo scholarships are scholarships where you get a scholarship, for example, on tuition, and then you get a scholarship that supports your living expense, or you get a scholarship that supports you because you're an African student, or you get a scholarship that supports you because you are a STEM student, and so it's taking care of some of your bills. You may even get a scholarship that is just taking care of your flight, as the case may be. But the thing about combo scholarship is that it requires way more time and research because the conditions around it are a whole lot most of the time. For example, you may get scholarship that is willing to cover your flight ticket, but that scholarship for flight ticket is for European countries, whereas the scholarship you got for tuition waiver is in America. So you see, you can't take a free flight to Europe when your studies has to happen in America. So everything must align and it requires a lot of research, but it depends on how determined you are to go for what you want. But yes, that's also a possibility. And if there are also other schools which I've mentioned, so don't apply to only just one school, apply to other schools as well too. It's important to also mention at this point that should you not succeed in getting the scholarship at all, a lot of schools also offer scholarships on their own to different degrees. So my own school before I got the scholarship had offered me scholarship of 2,000 euros. Guess what? During visa application, I met someone from my school who applied to the same school, who gained admission at the same school for the same course for the same intake, January 2025 intake. But guess what? She got scholarship of 5,000 euros from the same school. I got 2,000, she got 5,000. What does that tell you? That depending on how well you're able to make a case, even to the school. School can actually also give you scholarship. Most times schools don't even publicize the scholarship or how much they can give you. You have to apply, make inquiry and apply and make a strong case. Of course, you can also explore other countries. So should Ireland not work for you, there are so many other countries you can explore. So the idea is that this whole webinar, this whole process is to get you started, is to equip you, but not to limit you to just Ireland or to just the government of Ireland scholarship. There are so many other scholarships out there, and nothing stops you from taking your chance or your chances with them. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to also you teach you how you could use AI to help you look out for these various scholarship opportunities using things like Meta AI, ChatGPT, Google Search, and other tools, right? To help you find out about other opportunities and how to take advantage. Lastly, the coaching session. So there's what I call garden walk. Garden walk is a private coaching session I hold on different topics and at different times, in the course of each year, where I get to share more intimately, where I get to share more personal stuff that I wouldn't share on public forums, that I wouldn't share on just my general social media platforms. And so I'm going to be organizing a garden walk for this very purpose. By the way, there's always a fee placed on my garden walks. And the reason is because I get to share without holding back. For example, for this very scholarship coaching session, I'm going to be sharing with you on CV review and revamp, you know, how you can review your CV, how you can revamp your CV. And I'm even going to recommend you to someone who can do a good job for you with regards to revamping your CV. You also need to craft a very strong statement of purpose, like I mentioned earlier. And guess what? You take a look at my own I wrote, which I used for my admission, which I used for the scholarship application, and version that I use for visa, even though you don't really need the visa bit at this point. So you take a look at my statement of purpose, and then I'm going to also teach you, guide you, or coach you on how to weave compelling answers to to the question that will be asked, the application questions that you need to answer. How can you weave compelling answers? I'll share my own answers with you as well too. The exact things I submitted and how it landed me the scholarship at the end of the day. And then I'll also be doing personal reviews. So I like to take a look at your own statement of purpose, your CV, review it, give you my honest feedback, what you did to work on, and all of that stuff. So if this is something you are interested in, I'd like for you to contact me via the WhatsApp number there. I have an assistant who is going to provide to you all necessary details that you need to know. Or you can visit my website, mapledapper.com, and you can use the contact page there to reach out. Or you would also find a provision where you can subscribe for this coaching session. It's going to be tagged GOI-IES Scholar. In fact, it's going to actually be tagged scholarship coaching session. All you need to do is just to enroll there. You see the cost, every detail that you need to know is going to be under the event section of my website. So you look out for it, um, scholarship um, coaching session, and you enroll for it so that you get to learn a whole lot more. I'll show you lots of examples, personal examples, by the way, share more with you with regards to my entire the process and various tools that I use that helped me. But just in case you have any questions or you need any clarifications, please use that contact form on my website at mapledapper.com, and I definitely would love to read from you and answer your questions as much as I can. I hope that this has helped you, and please share this webinar video, this link, with as many as you know that would need to have this information, people you know that need to apply for one scholarship or the other, or even other opportunities. It's not even just about scholarships alone. Even those who are looking to apply for grants, this experience can actually teach them a whole lot, equip them, and prepare them for opportunities all over the world, globally, matter of fact. Anyway, I hope this has been worth your time. I remain your co-traveler, Mr. Maple, and thanks for following through. I look forward to having you, by the way, in the coaching session. It's going to be worth every dime and your time.